What's going on, peeps? It's Wrath here, hanging out today, playing some Idle Heroes. I'm going to thank you guys so much for coming out with me today. If you liked the video, don't forget, smash that thumbs up button to show your support. And if you haven't already, don't forget to subscribe as well. Alright guys, we're here today for another hero analysis, this time Bloodblade. As always, guild tech is maxed for the analysis, otherwise it doesn't make much sense. So anyways, like always, we'll jump in, we'll read the skills, go through the gearing guide, where they're good, where they're bad, do some testing, etc. like that. So, let's get things going. Let's get things started out here with the active skill, Exotic Blade. Ooh, it's exotic. 3 random enemies take 148% of attack as damage, then they take 46% of attack as bleed damage for 3 rounds, and if they're rangers, they take 95% of the attack as bleed damage for 3 rounds. So rangers take a little extra damage from his damage over time than regular units, but every unit still takes some damage over time. Also, you take 240% of attack as healing. So he gets a little bit of health back with his active skill, which is great, boosts his survivability, always a good deal. First passive, Rainblood 3. Ooh, it sounds cool. When using basic attack, victims take 45% of attack as bleed damage for 4 rounds. You increase armor break by 16.8% for 4 rounds. So, that's always nice. Basic attack has a chance to bleed, or will bleed the enemy, which is nice, a little extra damage over time. But you're also going to get some armor break to cut through armor a little bit easier. If you're not using someone like Sigmund, that makes a really big difference. Second passive here, Carnage Heart. Increase precision by 50%, not a huge deal, but it's free passive, we'll take it. Increase attack by 30%, obviously good. Armor break by 32%, which is great. Increase damage by 85% if target is bleeding, and increase health by 30%. So the big thing to take out of there is going to be increased damage if target is bleeding. Since his basic attack and active skill bleed the enemy, obviously he's going to get a very big boost out of this. He's always going to be boosting his own damage, which is great. Last passive here, Life Drain. When an enemy dies, take 240% of attack as healing. This doesn't really play in very well in the Marauder side of things with the boss fights, but where it does play in pretty well at is going to be in the Aspen dungeon or the Tower of Oblivion, things like that. Even PvP, if you choose to run him there, even though he's subpar for PvP in my opinion. Anyways, with that said, there's your active skills. As you can see, most of his stuff is focused on damage over time, bleeding enemies. When you see that kind of a genre on a unit, it means mainly they're for boss damage. That's generally what he's going to do. But because he has healing on his active skill and in a passive, he will work pretty decently in the Aspen dungeon as well. I didn't get a good chance to run mine in the Aspen all the way through. I've been freakishly busy this entire month. I actually, when I got on today, I'd only smashed to normal, and it was pretty sad. But anyways, that's not the point. I know for a fact 10-star Bloodblade can make it to Nightmare in the Aspen Dungeon, which in my mind means that an E3 Bloodblade probably could make it to Hell. It'd be rough, but even if he doesn't, he would still be a great unit to throw in there for node breaking in the higher Nightmares, because he does do a lot of damage and you get some healing back. Definitely a good unit for the Aspen Dungeon. Anyways, gearing guide. As always, I've got the 6-star gear on for the analysis, but I do believe he would obviously get a much bigger boost from the assassin gear. Don't have that, so it's a little bit of stuff he's missing. But the main thing you want to look at is stones and artifacts. So generally speaking, a stone on your Bloodblade is going to be attack. The reason is he scales with damage over time. Damage over time is based on a unit's attack, so obviously if you boost their attack higher, their damage over time goes higher, and their raw damage goes higher, so Attack, I would say, is the best stone for a Bloodblade. You could do attack, armor break if you wanted to. It's a possibility you could build a crit Bloodblade if you wanted to. But from everything that I know about him, attack is your best stone for a Bloodblade, in my opinion. Of course, you're welcome to test however you want to on your own time. I encourage that. It's good for you. I would say attack's your strongest stone. As for artifacts, when you're going to fight bosses, etc., the artifact will almost always change to be the type of artifact that does extra damage to that unit. So mage, assassin, ranger, whatever class-based artifact you have would be ideal, in my opinion. So that's mainly what you're going to run when you're doing boss fights. Since you mainly use them for boss fights, that's what you'll use. Outside of that, any artifact that boosts his attack is going to boost his damage. So if you don't have the specific class-based artifact you need, any artifact in the game that boosts his attack is going to be good for him. So even things like the red cursed hourglass or sandglass is going to boost his attack. It gives him the flat attack plus the percent attack because he's a shadow unit. So any artifact that boosts attack you want to run on him. However, when you go into the Aspen dungeon, Usually you want to focus your artifact more into survivability than raw damage. So things like the Crystal Magic Sword, anything that does reduced damage and HP, would probably be an ideal artifact for him. Even something like Field's Compass would be better than just raw damage. It's going to give him extra HP, which is going to boost his survivability. And that's mainly what you want in the Aspen is survivability, because you're going through hundreds of waves of enemies. You want to be able to survive. Anyways, with that artifact and stuff out of the way, the enables, we're going to test him stock vanilla, good old run-of-the-mill Bloodblade for the first run, resilience, mightiness, and HP. As I'm doing the testing for all official right now, all of my units that are enabled are going to have the vanilla stock enables on. Because otherwise, you're kind of getting a little bit of cheaty advantage in there. Once we swap over to the private server enables, obviously we're going to change that. What do we've got going on here, though? Marauder Sitch looking like Kamath. What's levels here? 250, 260. So everybody's probably Kamath and Sigmund's is what it looks like. So we're probably going to run a Ranger artifact on him then for a Kamath fight, like so. Backline will probably die pretty easily. We'll see what we can do. We'll see what we can jump in and test on. So first up, Kamath Marauder, let's do it. This lineup seems legit. Ish. I don't have anything else leveled up, do I? That's all just 6-star foods. Yeah, nothing that's going to matter is going to be there. I'll keep Bloodblade in the front line because I don't want him to get crowd controlled the entire battle with Petrify because it's going to lower his damage by a ton. Cruz in the back line, Aiden in the back line. They'll probably die pretty fast, I'm not going to lie. Obviously, this will not be an ideal test because my backline is going to die pretty quick, which means my damage will drop a little bit. Having an enabled Sigmund would probably be the biggest boost here to my damage because it'd keep Sigmund alive the whole battle, and he'd be able to drain armor the entire time. So, we're going to jump in like this and see how it goes. Hopefully, it goes pretty well, but you never know. I've got the Crystal Magic Sword on my Cruz to kind of reduce his crowd controlness, even though it apparently is not working as intended. It's okay. We'll make things happen, hopefully. I should have leveled him to 260. What a rookie am I. I enabled the guy and never actually leveled him up. So, yeah. Gonna be a little rough on that front. Like I said, they're probably gonna die pretty quick, and once they die, then, like I said, now your front line's in jeopardy from getting damaged and crowd controlled, which means your damage will probably drop pretty extensively. Hopefully, once we swap over to the different passives, we'll be okay. But for nowsies, yep, he's screwed. Absolutely screwed. Once you get petrified, you're Dundee. 158 million damage, not exactly what I was expecting or wanting, but it's okay. Bloodblade dropping well over 100 million damage, and remember, this is with a team behind him that is not doing him justice. Actually, let's go ahead while we're here. Just while we're here. And let's throw in these last 10 levels. Why I didn't do that is beyond my brain place, but I didn't. I absolutely did not do it. We'll do one more smash on the same Marauder just to see if the damage stays pretty close to the same. Like next. Defeated. 245 million. So obviously either somebody didn't die in the back line for a longer time, but Bloodblade hitting 163 million damage. This is without enabled Sigmund in the back line to stay alive and actually reduce armor the entire battle. And also sometimes the back line dies, which means, again, he's not going to do quite as much damage. That's actually not bad. But that's vanilla. That is the vanilla Bloodblade. Nothing changed on him. Let's go ahead and swap things over. I'm going to ditch resilience. So hopefully, if my backline stays alive, he won't need it. We're going to go violent attack for some extra crit. We're going to drop the extra HP on him, and we're going to do spell control. I do like these 3 enables a lot for damage dealing units because it boosts their damage a lot. Mightiness, obviously a flat attack boosts his dots. Crit after round 4 means he's going to have more chances to drop critical attacks. Critical attacks obviously dealing much more damage. And then spell control, every time he does an attack, he boosts his skill damage, so his skill damage hits harder and harder and harder the longer the battle goes. But because we're doing that, let's go ahead, a little bit of a hiccup there, and let's put Honest Heart on Aiden. I'm going to try to reduce as much damage on Kamath as I can. To keep him from killing us. We're also going to drop this, and we're going to go down for Light Will to keep him from getting crowd controlled. If he doesn't get crowd controlled, he doesn't take as much damage. The resilience should still proc and keep him alive. That's the idea. For Heart Watcher, we're going to do the same thing. She'll be in the front lines. We're going to go with Honest Heart for her to break attack. And Cruz, I'm debating between Honest Heart for attack break, but also maybe light will to make sure he doesn't get crowd controlled. We're going to try it with honest heart first and keep the attack as low as possible on Kamath and see if that helps boost our damage a little bit. So let's jump in and let's try to get a battle in here now with our enables swapped around to the private server side of things and see what we can do. Hopefully, we'll get better damage. Cruz already crowd controlled. This guy is just, that crystal magic sword not doing enough for you, Cruz. I'm going to have to, I feel like I'm almost probably going to have to go light will on him just to keep him from getting crowd controlled all the time. Aiden crowd controlled right now. Hopefully that light will kicks in a little bit more and keeps him from getting, oh, they're both CC'd. That's bad. This will be probably a pretty poor run. I feel like it. But we'll see. You never know. Sometimes you get surprised by things. Aiden should be getting crowd controlled less and less now. His thing's probably up to about 100% by now, so he shouldn't be getting crowd control, which is good. That means my Bloodblade has the maximum time to deal damage. Let's see what this active skill drops. 40 million damage. That's what I'm talking about, Bloodblade. Get in there. Dropping about 8 million damage with the basic attack. Hopefully this get a good crit on this last one and get a good hit out of it too. Oh, I didn't crit. Only 14 mil. Sad face. Sad face, but the backline did absolutely stay alive the entire time, and that's what I wanted. 258 million damage, Bloodblade dropping 175 million damage of that. And again, if he would have crit on that last run, that last crit could have been another 40 plus mil, which would have easily carried him over 200 million damage. Let's run one more of those and we'll next through it. I'm going to leave the enables like they were. I think they worked pretty well. Let's go ahead and do like so. 309 million damage. That's what I'm talking about, baby. Bloodblade dropping 198 million. So close. So close to the 200 million mark. But again, guys, remember, my Bloodblade does not have Assassin's Gear, does not have a C6 stone, and I do not have a fully enabled team behind him or a Sigmund that is lasting till round 15. All of those would boost his damage quite substantially. I would say Bloodblade could probably, hit probably 250 million damage versus Kamath Marauder with a proper team behind him, with the Assassin Gear on, with a Max Stone. E3 Bloodblade dropping stupid boss damage. I absolutely love that. It feels good. But that's not all you use Bloodblade for. Obviously, Broken Spaces is part of this formula. I believe those are both actually assassins there. So do we have an assassin damage artifact laying about? Absolutely do. Actually, Field's Compass would be... That wouldn't matter. Does the same thing as the other one, but gives him some HP, so why not run it? Enables, we'll leave the enables the same. No one's going to die on this run. Our team should stay alive pretty much the whole time. Shouldn't need all the attack breaks. What are your enables? Yours raw damage anyway. That's all we're testing. That'll work. This should work. But a thing to keep in mind here when you fight in Broken Spaces is Broken Spaces bosses do have reduced damage, and that does affect your damage output. Let's go ahead and throw like this in here. I guess we'll throw Michelle because why not? They do hit back line, I believe, which means I'm going to want my heaviest damage dealers in the back line because they're going to hit more. The more you get hit, the more skills you drop. That's just kind of the way it goes. So we're going to run it like so and see what we can get out of it. So let's jump in. Let's jump in. There is 2 enemies, so that's going to boost your damage by a little bit because Bloodblade does hit multiple with his active skill. But you're also going to be fighting against the reduced damage, so we'll kind of see how it all plays out in the end. I would expect over 100 million for sure. Maybe, if you're lucky, probably maybe 150 million damage. Because you got, like I said, that reduced damage does kick in, but I do have 2 enemies here. I might hit higher than I think. I might actually do better than I think here on this first wave. When you go into the waves where it's single enemies, you don't get double people to attack, which does drop your damage. And their reduced damage really kicks in then because you're only fighting 1 unit. You don't get the extra damage boost of hitting 2 people. It'll be a thing. We'll see what I get to. I'd love to see him drop some 20 plus million damage hits here with his active skill. That would be ideal. But you never know. You never know what he could do. 5 million with the basic, that's not terrible. I can deal with that 100%. Here we go. 11 million, that's all right. I can deal with that at round 10. 5 more rounds to go. I don't know if we're going to hit that 20 million damage or not. I'm running the dragon monster like I am. Does boost Bloodblade's crit a little bit, so I still didn't get it. Maybe we'll get one more at the end. We already killed that guy off. He's dead. 100% dead. We'll get one more skill drop by the end. So maybe we'll get a crit on that last one. That'll be nice. Hopefully. Boop. Just 6 million damage. So no crit there. Little sad. Probably would have been close to 10 million maybe with the crit. So it wasn't crazy amount of damage. Still dropped 192 million. Bloodblade, little over 100. So I was pretty much spot on with the damage. Let's go ahead and wipe this guy out though. Let's go ahead and buy a few of these. And let's go ahead and just smash this to death. Like so. Kill those dudes out and come back. This is a warrior. Do I have a warrior-based artifact? Tell me that I do. Be kind to me. Mage, Antlers, Assassin, Ranger. You're kidding me. Of course I don't have Warrior on any account. Why do you hate me, game? Oh, wait a minute. Wait a minute. Wait a dirty second. Let's just go ahead and smash these guys to death. Like so. They dead? They're dead. This guy's a priest. So we can still run the extra damage boost here with this. Oh, that's a mage. Balls, I thought that was priest. Why did I think that was priest? I is dumb. So, never mind. I'm retarded. That's not going to make any difference at all. Bet. What can we do? Can we do a guild boss test? Those are the rough ones. This, I think, is scary, which is... Oh, it's scary, because scary hits pretty freaking hard, and he drains your attack. We are probably going to need more defensive enables here. Let's go with boosted. Resilience will be nice. Let's go ahead and pop in health. The basic enables, believe it or not, really aren't that bad for survivability because they're going to give you extra health and healing. You'd be surprised how often that really helps your damage output. We're going to run the mage artifact on him, of course. For our other guys, I don't need crowd control immunity on this one. Probably would be better off running a crit break when hit. Right? Where is that? When using basic attack, reduces crit when hit. When taking damage, reduces crit chance. That seems pretty solid versus scary. I might actually run that over mightiness on you as well. Because their basic attack hits everybody, so everybody will be reducing their crit. If they don't crit, they don't hit all that hard. So we're going to try it like this. Let's go ahead and attack break or crit break. That's the question. They do steal attack, so they do gain a lot of attack. I think we'll leave Cruz and her at attack break. Sounds like a plan. Sounds like a plan. We're going to try it. I don't expect crazy damage out of myself on this. Have I hit this before yet? I did. 9 million damage. That sounds about right. I don't know if I swap my enables around very much, but we'll see. We'll ditch you out, put you in, even though it probably won't make a huge difference. Let's see. Let's see what we can snag against these scary bosses. I don't really like fighting scary bosses because they're scary and they do lots of damage. Here we go. If we can keep their attack and their crit broken, we might be okay for a little while. But you got to watch out as they stack those active skills. Yeah, you see the team just kind of falling apart already. It's not a good sign. It's really a bad sign. Aiden's doing the most damage right now, of course. Oh, there we go. We're dead. 100% dead. 13 million damage. So I can't eke out a whole lot more here. Scaries are probably one of the harder bosses, at least for me. Scary Faith Blade was a nightmare. Ice Blink's kind of annoying as guild boss battles, but guild boss fight, you probably need a better team all around to deal with that. Like I said, I'm running a level 50 Michelle and 9-star Sigmund. When you get a full enabled team, especially on the private server, it makes a very big difference because you're able to stack those enables that are going to debuff the enemy units, and you can make a lot more damage happen. Running just 2 E3s, not exactly easy to accomplish, but I'm okay with it. I would say he's probably still pretty decent in guild boss fights, as long as you've got a really good team with him. You know what I'm saying? But anyways, not super impressive there, I'm not going to lie. Arena, Bloodblade's not a PvP hero. I'll just say, I mean, we could do some battles, but it's not going to be an effective test anyway with Aiden and stuff in the lineup. It's all different. But being that he has no crowd control, no ability to crowd control, and no natural resistance to crowd control, he doesn't work all that well in PvP. Can he burst down Rangers? A little bit, but you're still probably better off with someone like Valkyrie. You know, units that are actually specifically for PvP will do better in it. Bloodblade's just not my choice for PvP. I would say you can use him there. I wouldn't recommend it. He's mainly a boss fighter. That's what he does, especially Marauders. Broken spaces, he does pretty good damage against them as well. Tower, maybe. Aspen, he can work in the Aspen with his sustain, which is definitely nice. Maybe guild bosses if you get a good team behind him. I feel like mine's a little weak for guild boss fights, I just do. But it's okay, like I said, he's mainly going to be your PvE side of things anyway, and I like him for it. Especially his boss damage. Dropping over 200 million damage by himself versus Marauders is really nice. It's actually a really good boost to your team. In Broken Spaces, obviously he's carrying that same stuff in if you have the right artifacts to, target the weakness of the unit you're fighting. I would say he can still carry over 100 million damage pretty easy. Stuff like that. Guild boss was a little tough, like I've said before. They're the harder bosses to get high damage against because they hit so hard. You've got to really tweak your team to bring down the enemy's attack, or have a full E3 team with resilience and HP so people aren't dying as easy anyway. But the deer monster probably would help in that regard too, providing a little bit of healing for your team. I don't have a Vesa, which does, believe it or not, make a big difference in guild fights. Having a high tier Vesa to heal your team and keep them alive does make a big difference, but like I said, we've tested him where we've tested him, and I would say for sure a good PvE unit. I really like Bloodblade. As for Walter, people like to compare Bloodblade to Walter. They're both assassins, the same faction. All the testing I've done with both of them at 10 stars is their damage is very much interchangeable versus Marauders. It doesn't really rise or drop very far from the other one. So when you're running class-based artifacts, full-on gear, they're both putting out, I would say Walter can probably bring 200 million damage. Well, maybe not to Rangers. If you're fighting Kamath, you're probably better with Bloodblade as the extra damage versus Rangers. But their damage is very, very close. I'll just say it. Very close damage between Walter and Bloodblade when they're maxed. I would recommend to build, if you're going with Assassin, if you're trying to do a PvE lineup, taking a Bloodblade in with you is absolutely worth doing. Pick him up, he'll help you in the Aspen dungeon, he'll boost your boss damage. Not so much in PvP, but obviously almost any hero works mid-game PvP. No one's really min-maxed to the light dark teams yet. So anyways, I would say Bloodblade, definitely worth the build. Absolutely pick this guy up. I really like him. But that's it for today, guys. I hope you enjoyed it. If you liked the video, please make sure, smash that thumbs up button to show your support. If you haven't already, don't forget to subscribe as well. And tell your friends about it, because that definitely helps me out a lot. And I will see you guys in the next one.